So I want to discuss a concept known as leverage. Previously, I've made a video on it before, but I feel like it's such an important topic that I need to discuss it again. So in the book, The Almanack of Naval Ravikant, he talks about a concept known as leverage. Leverage allows you to multiply your output exponentially. So back in the day, if you wanted to work on a farm, as in you were a farmer, your input and your output were directly linked. The amount of time, if you spend 8 hours working on a farm, the output is 8 hours. So, for example, I work a season to plow the fields, to sow the seeds, and to harvest. Your output is directly tied to that. But leverage will allow you to multiply that input exponentially. So, in the book, he talks about the oldest forms of leverage. And he says the oldest forms of leverage are one, labor, and two, capital. Back to the farm analogy I was using. Labor leverage will allow you to hire people to work on your farm alongside you. So now it's not just one person's input that is directly correlated to his output. So now what you've done is that you've used leverage to directly multiply your output. Same for capital. You could use money to invest in a startup nowadays. You could use the money to invest in a business. You could use that money to start a business. You could use that money to employ people, etc. There's many ways to do that, and the most popular way is probably through investing. He then goes on to talk about the newest forms of leverage, which are code and media. So media, for example, I'm using media as a leverage currently with this video. I only have to make this video once, and the video will kind of work for me as I sleep. Back in the day, before camera technology existed, to speak to someone or to get knowledge from someone, you will have to go directly to them. But you can use leverage to not only spread your message to multiple people, you can spread your message to multiple people and people in previous years to come. And I can do that once, as opposed to meeting with someone, person A, then tomorrow meeting with person B, then tomorrow meeting with person C, etc. So media has kind of allowed me to leverage my outputs almost exponentially, depending on how many views I get, as opposed to looking for people to speak to them. I'm able to create it on a platform, YouTube. And code, for example, you can use the guys from Silicon Valley or the tech era from the Steve Jobs, the Elon Musks, the guys who use code. They only have to really make that code once. They only really have to make that website once. And then the website makes them money in their sleep, allows them to multiply that input almost exponentially. So my question is, how would you how would you use leverage in your business? Maybe you could use labor, hire more workers. Maybe you could use capital. Maybe invest in a business yourself. Maybe you could use media. Like if you're not creating videos for your business, etc., you could now use leverage to create media and multiply your input exponentially. You could use code. You could make a website for your business, and you only really need to make that website once. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that leverage will allow you to multiply that infinitely, or at least exponentially. And for me, I've talked about starting a car detailing business. How I would use that down the line is I could hire more workers using labor. I could I could use the money from profit to reinvest back in the business using capital. I could make a website using code. And I've talked about this previously. Using media, I can record videos and get clients using those videos. I could get clients using the videos I record. So those are some ways that leverage could help you in your business, can help you do better in your business. So if you can use any of these forms of leverage in your business. So if you can use labor, if you can use labor, use capital. If you can use capital, use media. If you can use media, use code. And if you can use all of them, then I guess that's the sweet spot. That's where you want to be. So if you want to read the book I'm speaking about, it's called The Almanack of Naval Ravikant. I would highly recommend you read the book. And that's all for today's video.